Good morning. It is Friday. We hope you are keeping well. Seamus O'Brien is going to be talking to us in a second. We had a discussion yesterday about the planned vigil for supporting the Black Lives Matter, the anti-racist vigil in Waterford on Saturday. Tomorrow it's been postponed. We're going to go hear from Kilmac Thomas. A massive turnout yesterday evening, between 200 and maybe 220, 230 vehicles. There were jeeps, there was trucks, there was tractors, there was cars, there was vintage cars, there was motorbikes. So many different groups and so many different people. It was really, really fabulous. So the situation this morning is we're also going to hear from Donald Jacob. He is reopening on Monday as part of the Waterford Greenway bike hire company, and many other companies looking at reopening and restocking and seeing how things go on Monday. So we're going to be talking to different people about that. We're going to hear from Catherine and Roseanne Foley about a fabulous new series that's starting on Sunday evenings, Winter na Deise. And we're going to be talking to Dan Shanahan, one of our shortlist on our 25 for Waterford's greatest sporting heroes. We'll have updates on that very important meeting regarding the heads of WIT and IT Carlow, and we're also going to talk to many other people about different things, especially what do you miss most at the minute? What have you missed in the last while, and what about lockdown? What are we talking about? So I think we're going to talk now to let's see there. Yeah, I think we're going to talk now to Seamus O'Brien. Seamus, are you there?
I am, Damien. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you very much for talking to us. Seamus, Waterford Against Racism. You were on the programme yesterday, and people know that you had you explained your situation very well, and obviously the main points about the Black Lives Matter protest and solidarity with those in America and people in Ireland as well. You made a decision yesterday evening to postpone the vigil for tomorrow. Tell us why, please.
Well, I mean, I'd had several discussions after the programme. I got lots of messages from people who I would have worked with in the past on anti-racism, who I would trust their opinions, and they said, you know, they had some concerns about it, and I've been having lots of these kind of to and fro's with people all through the day. And in the evening, I got a call from the Garda superintendent here in Waterford, Chris Delaney, and he outlined some of his concerns that had grown since the previous day when we met the Gardaí on the quay. Because of this, the numbers attending the event was starting to grow beyond the level that we would have been able to steward. And his concerns were, you know, I understood his concerns, and I had them as well. That it wasn't so much about the social distancing along the quay. It was when the crowd, and you actually, I think, asked me that yesterday, was when the crowd started to disperse, that they would possibly form into groups and we'd have no control over that. So that was ultimately the decision that caused us to cancel it.
Yeah, I know, and the laws, and I read out some of the regulations and rules yesterday. You don't need a permit to protest. There is a right to protest in Ireland, and what protesters do over the years, and you've been involved in many protests from People Before Profit and other groups, you contact the guards and you talk to them and you work with them in terms of stewarding, you talk to them what's happening, and as you say, it's not your job to police as such. It's the policeman's job, the Gardaí's job to do, because it's only the Gardaí that have, I suppose, authority on the streets. So did you find a good relationship with the guards in discussing this? Was it an antagonistic thing, or was it a case of let's try and work this out, and if it's not going to be worked out, we'll just postpone it? Firstly, I'm not a member of People Before Profit. Sorry.
I know, they've not. I've seen on their Facebook page they took a lot of flack over this as well, which was probably indicative of the hate that's still out there. No matter what people try to do, one way or the other, you know, you're going to get critics. But no, I'm not a member of People Before Profit or any political party. As regards the relationship with the guards, we met the community guard, Dave Butler. He is fantastic, absolutely fantastic. There was no pressure applied in that way by him. The concerns were outlined, the regulations were outlined, and the possible breaches of the COVID-19 regulations were outlined to us. But he also did say, yes, we had the constitutional right to protest, and while they weren't endorsing the Black Lives Matter vigil, they were okay with, they accepted that we had the right to do it. But there was no antagonism at all.
Yeah, okay.
No, I didn't feel it.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
And the super, there wasn't. He was, it was a conversation, not an argument.
Yeah, and that's important to specify, because again, people try to work these things out. So to me, from what I could see with the texts that were coming in yesterday, Seamus, we two different sort of groups in terms of those that were against the vigil. There was those that just had general concerns about health, saying it was the wrong thing to do, the right thing to do, but at the wrong time. And then you'd had a few others, as you say, that maybe online that could have hate in their thoughts, and that's not right.
Yeah.
So for those that just had the general point of view, thinking, listen, this mightn't be a good idea, the vast majority of texts that came in were along that line. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. And ultimately, I would say that was what made me make that call, was that people who I know, like I said, I know and respect, who I know are anti-racism, had such concerns, and people were sending me messages saying they 100% support the cause, but they had the concerns and they would be uncomfortable attending themselves. So, I felt that was enough to, and then in tandem with talking to the guards, it almost reflected what the guards had been saying as well, that, kind of people were coming to a point, there was very few people who said they were opposed to this.
Yes.
There were very few people who said they were opposed to it. It was just...
in terms of the principle of it, yeah.
And to be honest, had this been 5 weeks ago or 6 weeks ago when the lockdown restrictions were tighter, I don't think we would have even considered having this.
No.
So, and maybe it was... we've probably in our heads thought, it's over, we're out of this. And we're not. And that was reiterated as well yesterday to me. We're not out of this.
Yeah, you mentioned in terms of online, and online is different from a radio programme and different media organisations and people, the keyboard warriors, as we know. Did you find a certain percentage, small percentage albeit, of vitriol?
Oh, absolutely. And to be quite honest now, even from people who I would have campaigned with, a couple of people over the years, just unleashed on me yesterday. I don't know, somebody called me King Wenceslas, the new King Wenceslas, I think I was called at one point. I was called a turncoat, a sellout, lots of things. But look, that will be forgotten in a couple of days. I mean, it did hurt. But it's nothing to the hurt that black people get when they're called in. Within minutes of me posting about the cancellation, I received 3 photographs from somebody who... in an email conversation, somebody from Waterford had received horrendous racial abuse in an email in an online conversation with a company, not a Waterford company, an international company, over an unpaid bill. And even when he sent them the receipt, they continued to racially abuse him. So like what I suffered yesterday was the minor kind of things that happen on social media, but there's much more serious things happening in terms of racism, even in the city.
Yeah. And it's a shame in some respect that the debate focused just on the style of the protest yesterday planned for tomorrow. I'd agree with you, and I understand where you're coming from on this, and I agree 100% with you as well that racism, that some people suffer, and we've spoken to different people in the last week about this, and it's out there, and it's obviously not maybe as prevalent in other countries, but it's there, and people experience that, and our hearts and thoughts go out to people that may be feeling this morning, maybe the system is stopping us reflecting our issues, and there's a lot more to this, and it's an issue that will come up again, and I know you're not going to go away, Seamus. You're going to make sure and you're going to fight this and continue to campaign on it.
Absolutely, yeah. And look, I mean, the comments that were coming in as well also showed me how difficult it would have been to control it, because there was people making comments about what they had intended to do that were contrary to what we had planned as well. So I think our decision is justified, and I'm happy with it. And as I say, I can live with it. My solidarity still is with victims of racism, and that will continue. That won't stop.
Seamus, thanks very much for coming on today this morning. I know it's a difficult thing to do. It's a hard thing to make that call. You've made the call, and we'll talk to you again soon, OK?
Thanks very much, Damien.
Thanks, appreciate it. Seamus O'Brien there from Waterford Against Racism. Number of texts coming in, 083 333 975, or you can call Audrey on 051 846 123. Glad to hear the vigil is postponed. Understand the sentiments and the right thing to do, but not at the right time. Other people saying the same thing. Fair play to Seamus. Very mature decision, says this texter. 100% behind your sentiments, but at this unusual time, it's a difficult time to have this gathering, and that is in from Sandra. Keep your texts and comments coming in, please. Let us know what you think, and we are going to hear the wonderful story. Every community has their own little hero, their own person that they love and they really appreciate, and in Kilmac there's a man who has a massive big heart. We're going to hear about him next. Now, Michael Joy Welch, 65 years of age. Yesterday was his birthday. Yesterday evening, just after 6 o'clock, his family had organised, and the community, a marvellous drive past up at his house at the wonderful area known as Scrahan. There's around five houses up there on the way from Kilmac towards Newtown. And Michael has worked for many years as a garage man. He started work when he was 13 years of age. More than 200 cars, motorbikes, jeeps, emergency vehicles. It's fabulous what happened last night, the drive past. So I went along. Went first to the local fire station and spoke to 3 men involved in the tender service, because Michael would have helped, giving them diesel and stuff like that as part of the community effort, and many people took part in this. And then I went up to the house and spoke to Michael and the family, and then you'll hear at the end a little bit of a drive past, and he was actually... So he was speechless. He couldn't even talk. He was so speechless. The family want to thank everybody for everybody that turned up. Here's this little report starting up at Kilmac Thomas Fire Station. Tell me a little bit about Michael.
Michael is in the garage over, and he's always been a supporter of anything that happened around Kilmac. With us in the fire brigade, GA, big GA man. He's always been around here. I'm not originally from here, but we always hear good things about Michael.
What's your own name?
Michael Sheehan.
How's the system going here? How
good.
Are you?
Yeah, good. Not too bad, yeah.
Who have you got here?
We're going well. This is Nicholas. He's the sub-officer.
Hello, Nicholas.
This is Shane.
Hello, Shane. How are you?
Too bad.
Nicholas, tell us about Michael.
Michael is a pure gent, I tell you. With his years now, anytime we're stuck, even if he was closed, he'd come down and he'd open up and give us a bit of diesel. Or any time from James Power's time now, he'd come along there to the call and give it a bit of fuel, you know. So I couldn't say a bad word about Michael. He's just pure gent. And I think everyone in the town
always there. And it was needed, he was always there. Pure gentleman. It's the only words to describe him.
And it's the least you can do tonight in some respect. It's lovely to do it.
Yeah, it definitely is, yeah, because, you know, everyone loves him around Kilmac. Everyone you meet, do you know Michael Joy? Yeah, everyone knows him, like, so.
Because it's funny, in every town and village, you get some people that people talk a bit, but there'll always be somebody, from what I've heard about him, you get nobody say a bad word about him.
Even getting a few tyres off him, something as simple as that. If you hadn't the money, like, he'd say, Jesus, you can come back when you get paid and give me the money, you know. He's decent as you get, like, you know.
Yeah.
He'd be always there to do your turn on it, I tell you.
Yeah.
No better man.
Just go up and lights and sirens. He'll appreciate that more than anything else.
He knows nothing about it as far as we know.
No, as far as we know, no, nothing about it, no. Plenty of noise.
We can't give him a party, so this is our way of kind of acknowledging what he's done for us over the years, you know. So.
How have you been during the last 3 months? Have you had any call-outs, or how's it been?
Nothing COVID, anyway, thank God.
Yeah.
We're busy enough now, yeah. We've had 25 calls this quarter, like, so we're going very well. Not in COVID, that's the main thing, anyway.
Yeah.
You know?
Did you have to make any extra training for it or things like that?
Oh,
yeah, there's a lot of training to be done with PPE and stuff like that. We'd have to have all this kind of stuff going out with us on calls, just in case. Touch wood, it hasn't happened, but just in case anyone have it. So we've been trained up on how to do that and how to use it and how to approach them and stuff like that. So disinfecting everything after, before and after we get to home.
Yeah.
Disinfect everything in the appliance and in the station. And
do you all get on well here? Nobody messing, no?
I know, we're all fairly good. We all get on fairly well.
Who's the blackguard?
You're not here at the moment.
What's his name? Go on, who is his name?
we don't mention names.
We know who we're talking about, do we? Good evening.
Good evening, how are you?
What's your own name?
Peter O'Rourke, Damon, how are you?
Tell us about Michael Joy. He was good to your father or good to the family?
Yeah, when my father had dementia, which a lot of people don't like to talk about, but when my father had dementia, he'd go in and out to the garage he might not always know exactly what he wanted, but Michael Joy had always had a lot of patience with him. So, as a son, returning on holiday, I always made a point to thank Michael for that. That's what I was saying. It's a sad day for Greenway Thomas when
he's retiring.
When retiring like that.
Yeah. Listen, they're going to give him a good send off. The boys are getting ready to go. Thank you very much. What's your own name?
Matthew Shirley, right?
And tell us, Michael is down here, not far from you. How long do you know him?
Oh, years.
Talk to me about Michael.
Oh, sound old bloke, boy. Very good. Nice man to have alongside you. Always and never. And
He do a good turn for you, I heard.
oh, anytime you'd want him, no bother. You need him, that's the second time.
There's 4 or 5 houses up here. I'd say you're all fairly... You know each other very well.
That sounded like one of them, boy.
Thanks very much.
All right, boy.
Thank you. Hello, Bridget. How are you?
Where are you good?
Where's Michael himself?
He's inside. Want to come in to meet
I'll
you?
come in in a minute. Tell us, what have you got planned here? You've all the community out ready to go.
The whole shebang. He doesn't know anything about it at all. He's 65 today and it's great bonus because he's after being for chemo and he's after being in for treatment. But he's doing well. He's doing okay. So it's great to get him to this big birthday and to have him well. And he retired from the garage as well. And it's just what we wanted to mark it for all the years down the community that he helped everyone and he made great friends for life, and just to get the achievement today of having been 65, and just wanted to mark it. We didn't want to leave it go without having something special for him to remember when he's well.
I was talking to some of the lads in the fire tender, and
yes,
they can't speak highly enough.
Yeah, a gentleman. He's not only our brother, but he's our best friend. He's the best, just as the song says, simply the best. Yes.
And a lot of people are going to miss him in the garage.
They are, because a lot of doing the turns for the people. They were all great friends. It's all calling for the crack, and he nearly had a joke for everyone. So it's kind of an end of an era, really. You know what I mean? But we're glad, now that he's going to retire and maybe have a little bit of time when he's feeling, well. So we're just hoping that.
Well, I go in and have a little word with him before the thing happens.
I want to wish you a happy birthday.
Michael, I can't shake hands with you. How are you doing?
Good, very good, and yourself?
Pleased to meet you.
No, not about that.
How are you?
Good.
This lady wants to say hello to you.
I just want to say hello to Michael. Thank you very much. Happy retirement.
Down the porch, Michael.
Tell us, Michael, happy birthday.
So thanks very much to him.
How are you getting on? You've been through a bit with the ringer, but you're battling through.
Well, getting through it. Please God. And we know next month now we know we're going for a scan, we'll see how we get on. That was a battle, but we get there. You know what I mean? But those things happen. Life has to go on. You know what I mean? I'm sure we're all good friends around here, they all look after you, know what I mean? That's different.
It's lovely to have some kind of a gathering again. You have to. It's a shame you can't have a proper party, but just have some.
It's nice to have more oranges in, you know what I mean? Especially all the lads, my sisters and all the lads, they're all very good. Only for them I'd be lost. You know what I mean? But you can't pay it your own. You know, if you happen your own, you have no of it. You know, that's the thing you see. But other than that, we're gone. It's a year and a half now, so please God will battle another while.
Are you going to miss the garage?
I miss it, but you look at it. What can I do? I had no choice. Time came and I just couldn't, so I wouldn't be able. So the doctor said, no, there was no way, you know. So there's nothing you could do about it, and you just pack it up then. That's what your health comes first, I suppose. You know, your health is the main thing to anybody. You know, but look at just 29 years that Amy. Started off there when I was 13. Left school when I was 13. I started for 150 a week. And then I stayed in the garage for 13, 14 years. Then I went into PPI in Waterford. I have 12 years there, and then I came back out. And I took it over and I got to stay 29 years there. So there were good times there. Hairy times, and yourself. There was a bit of a lapse, and but there were had a lot of work done down there sometimes. It was tough,
And with the garage, I know you helped out a lot of people over the years.
But look, that's what we're there for.
That's what community is for as well.
Like if the people don't come into you, then you won't stay going. You know what I mean? Because they're keeping you going. So I always say, when I'm in business, I think you have to sell yourself first. But there were some good times that day, man. There was a lot of rough, like Flavins, they had all Flavins businesses there then, you know. You could be lying down the paper bag there, but non-tires and the water going down underneath you. Then, in them times, you know. But it wasn't easy, you know. But other than that, it was good.
Well, I'll let you get back to the family there now and have a nice
Thanks very
evening.
much.
Not at all. Pleasure seeing you.
Thanks very much, Ian.
Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Who have we got here now? How's it going?
Good.
What's your name?
I'm Michael's brother, Tony.
Organising this little thing for him today. Was it difficult to get people to turn up? I doubt it very
No
much.
bother at all. They're all very helpful. Well, he's in the garage more than nearly 30 years, so he's known far and near, like. And he'd be very good to people.
A good brother?
Oh yeah, great. Like, he'd be overwhelmed now by the amount of people that are going to come.
Yeah.
He doesn't realise the amount of people that's going to turn up. So that'll give him a boost.
Thanks very much.
No bother. Thanks.
What's your name?
My name is Bridget
Bridget what?
Joy.
And this is?
Mary Fitzgerald.
This is a lovely evening, isn't it?
Lovely, Damien, yeah?
Great to have everybody together.
Yeah, very nice.
Tell me a little bit about Michael.
He's a gentleman out and out. Yeah. Done things for everybody.
Who's this man here?
Billy Joy.
Hello, Billy.
How are you doing, Damien? Thanks very much for coming out.
Very welcome. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it is an honour to be here. Michael done so much for Kilmac Thomas. Down through the years, helped out everyone. Everyone has shown it this evening. They're all here in their hundreds. And on behalf of the Joy family, we would like to thank everyone for turning up this evening. And Michael will really appreciate this.
It's an emotional time, isn't it?
It's an emotional time, yeah, exactly. But he loved the music and he loved everything, and he loves listening to WLR. He's always listened to John O'Shea. John is one of his favourites. Down through the years, he's always on about John and all the good people in WLR. They always do good for everyone. Great to have something like this happening and for yourself to come out, and everyone appreciate that. Thanks very much, Damien. Thank you.
Siobhan, what's the surname?
Corbett. I was Welsh. We'd be next door neighbours here with Michael and the Joys. I suppose I'm here in my 40s now, but I know them all my life, and you couldn't ask for better neighbours. Everyone on this road, it's the same families are here with the guts of 50 years, with all the houses up this way, and everyone always looked out for everyone else. And
is there a name on the townland here or on the
just
little...
Scrahan.
Just Scrahan.
Scrahan, yeah. No, Michael, like, a great fella and some character, like, you know, he's a great man for, you know, he loves to laugh and that, and everyone is mad about him, absolutely mad about him. And he loves his bit of music, as you can hear from what's going on there. He loves a bit of Big Tom and that, and that's, do you know what I mean? It's a great achievement from his below over 30 years, I think, down in the garage in Kilmac. But just want to wish him a happy birthday from all of us next door, and, you know, good health to him and that, and it's great to see everybody out. Just testament to the man, to show who's around. I say we'll be here looking out over at all the tractors and things here for a while, but no, happy birthday, Michael, and we all love you. Okay.
Hello, Mags.
Thanks, Kylie.
And who's this?
Alice Clearsty, Michael's neighbour.
Tell us what sort of a man is Michael?
A very quiet, but a great character at the back of it all.
A real rogue.
Yeah, a real rogue. Definitely a real rogue, a real caffler.
Yeah.
But a lovable person behind it all. Yeah. And I couldn't talk highly enough of him.
Yeah, a fantastic neighbour.
Yeah.
Lovely man, but as I said, a real rogue. Yeah. He'd always have the laugh and the joke and, you know, the story to tell you, or the bit of fun. But a very kind man.
Every one of them are a lovely family.
There's supposed to be around, 200 tractors and bikes and all cars and everything?
Plus, I'd say.
Yeah.
And plus, I'd say, yeah. Without a doubt. Yeah. He'll have such a surprise. He doesn't know anything that this is going on yet. So it will be a big surprise for him.
It's lovely for him. It's well deserved. Yeah. Just to show him how much the people of the village do think of him.
Yeah, exactly.
All his neighbours and friends, and that he's highly thought of. So.
But they're all lovely. The two girls, like Bernie and Tony as well, Bernie and Bridget, they are a lovely family. Yeah. You just couldn't, even when we were growing up, when we all came into this, we all came together in those 4 houses. We all got the house back then. Could always depend on each and every one of these neighbours. Yeah. It's just a little community, and if you wanted any of them in the morning, you mightn't see them from one day to the next. But I know, even myself, and I'm living in Amy Bryan now, if anything happened, Dad, I need only ring Kathleen next door. I could even ring Kevin. I could ring here to Michael's. Yeah. And I know I could be dependent on that they would go up to him and look after them. They're a brilliant little network here.
It is, and it's fantastic to have, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah,
It is.
Especially in these times, like,
and to know
neighbours are important, aren't they?
Yeah, and to know that you can go away, you're gone away from the place, but you still, when you come back down, it's the same as if you haven't
never been gone.
You know? Yeah. No, it is.
Enjoy the evening.
Yeah,
we will, Damien.
Thanks very much.
Okay.
Ladies and gents, will you join us in singing happy birthday to Michael as a surprise arrives down the hill?
Well, what do you think? Prize? Can you believe it? Huh? And well done to everybody concerned. Michael was gobsmacked, really was gobsmacked and speechless. He could hardly talk afterwards. He was so overwhelmed with it. That shows the modesty of the man. And Billy rang me this morning to say, on behalf of the family, thanks to everybody who turned out yesterday. A fabulous community effort. Just shows when communities and families come together how important it can be. Sandra texted in 083 333 975. Great to hear those lovely tributes to Michael. He's loved by so many. Ray and Aaron Darcy said he's a true gentleman, always very helpful. And Michael Hearn phoned in to say he'd like to pass on his heartfelt congratulations to Michael Joy in his retirement yesterday. Michael, the most obliging man ever. He's there for everyone. He will get out of his bed and travel to help someone out. Now, the Greenway Waterford Bike Hire Company. This is Donal Jacob, and they're reopening on Monday. Just before the programme started, I went to have a little chat with Donal. Donal Jacob, nice morning.
Yes, lovely morning actually. Not as warm as last week, but still, it's good.
Nice morning for a cycle.
Of course, it's always a nice
Every morning's a good morning for a cycle.
It's good, yeah.
You got your van here, looking good. The Greenway Waterford Bike Hire.ie. Open up the van there. What have you got inside?
Actually, we have a few bikes.
Very good. So these are the normal bikes you would have, are they? Describe them for me.
They're just hybrid bikes.
Hybrid
bikes. People often ring you up saying, oh, have you got racers, have you got road bikes, have you got this, that and the other. They're all hybrids. All the companies do the hybrid. They're a good solid bike, especially for the Greenway.
What is a hybrid bike here? Just looking at the tyres, they're good solid, as you say.
Well, as I say, they're just middle of the road. Like, they're not racers and they're not your mountain bikes. So they're the middle of the road. The old-fashioned bikes, the ones we went to school on.
Penny farthings. The old, yeah. What did you used to call them? What used to call those old bone shakers, those big things? There's a name on them, wasn't there?
The High Nellies.
High Nellies.
Oh, yeah, my first bike was a High Nelly. Absolutely.
And nothing wrong with it?
Nothing wrong with it. Got me everywhere. Yeah.
You spoke to me a number of months ago. It's 3 months ago now when things were closing down. How have you been?
Like everybody else, I'll be honest. The first couple of weeks I found it very surreal, very stressful. Didn't know what to think of the whole thing. And then after a couple of weeks in my own head, I said, you know what, let's take the positives. And I used the time to try and get fit. I've lost a bit of weight. I'm out on the bike every day. Initially, we're just around the nature park, out walking every day as well. And then when the 5k came in, I started doing a bit further on the bike. And like I do a good bit now, and I feel fitter.
Yeah, no, you're looking great. How many kilometres or miles would you be doing a day or a week or what?
I usually do about 40, and then I do a long walk as well.
Yeah, that's great. And the mental health issues in terms of making sure during the last 3 months that you felt physically better, but also you're able to focus on something that you can be in control of. This is one of the things that people have been saying the last few months. We can't control a lot of the environment around us.
Absolutely.
But you can control how you react to it.
Well, I wanted to come out of this pandemic in a better state of mind. Like, I mean, look, life is full of ups and downs. This is one of the downs. I've had plenty, you've had plenty, everybody has. And I always say, focus on the positives and come out of it a little bit more positive. And now I'm ready to go back to work. Not really looking forward to working 7 days a week again. But look, I am ready. And I'm more focused, and we'll see how it goes. It won't be as busy. Obviously, I'm not going to have groups, I'm not going to have corporate events, I'm not going to have international students and all that. But there is an appetite to get out on the bike. Hopefully the local bike shops like Eamon and that hasn't sold every local person the new bike, and they will want to rent a few.
I think all the bikes I saw, Eamon put a thing up last night from Altitude saying that in terms of bike repairs, they just can't do any more. They're so busy, and it's hard to get bikes in Ireland now.
Yeah, very, very busy. And like that, it's coming in on Twitter, like all over the country and the world. Like, I mean, bikes are scarce and parts are scarce.
You'll have to be careful now that some bikes aren't robbed. I'm not joking, like, as if bikes become a precious commodity.
Look, I'm never worried about the customer that will come in and take one. No, not the customer,
but like, just keep an eye on them.
I'd always be worried about the big guy. But look, it's well secured where I am, and cameras and alarms and everything, so I'm not too worried about that.
What's going to happen on Monday? How are you going to put in place social distancing? What changes have you had to make to the business model?
Well, first of all, people still get me mixed up with other companies on the Greenway. So I'm based at WIT Arena. The sports arena itself is still closed and will be closed for another while. I'm not quite sure. But I've been given permission to work from the side of it. I have a store around the back. So basically, when you approach the arena, go to the right-hand side. I'll have all the bikes set up. I'll have your cleaning. I'll just have strict HSE guidelines, like your cleaning for your hands. I'll deal with customers separately, and there might be a little delay. But look, I think people are used to waiting now, going into supermarkets and everything. It'll be the same with us. And we put you out, and the bikes are all cleaned, and when you bring them back, you put them back into a different area so that they be cleaned again before they go back into stock to go back out again.
And the very nature of bicycles, there's only a number of touch points where hands and skin will be touching particular. So you're looking at the handlebars here, you're looking at the gear sticks,
the gears,
the saddle maybe.
The saddle.
The bell, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not. Sadly, I get a lot of requests for the soft little cushion on the saddle. I won't be giving them out. If you want one, bring your own.
The soft little cushion.
The soft little cushion. Helmets, it was a bit of an issue for me. Again, I would hope people might bring their own helmets. I will offer helmets. They will be cleaned when they come back, and they won't be used the same day. And that goes with the buggies as well. For the children that get into buggies, when they come back, they need to be cleaned extra good, we'll say. So I'm not going to put out the same buggy twice in the one day. So I have 10 buggies, and when they're out, and that's it. Like.
So can people ring you in advance to check if there's buggies available, for example?
The likes of the buggies, I prefer if people book them, I'll always accept walk-ins. You can book my bikes online as well. After saying that now, that might be set up for another week or so. But generally speaking, through the website, you can book. But I'll always accept walk-ins.
But you don't want people to be disappointed. You don't want parents coming up and a buggy not being available and the children are sad, you know.
Exactly, yeah. Especially if there's one day and we're cleaning it and it's just after coming back, you have to leave it dry out. And just to be sure.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it was easy, the lockdown, to close up. I was in a panic. I didn't want people getting infected through me. I still don't want that. And I'll be very, very conscious of it. Once we're set up on Monday, I have a health inspector to have a look at the whole place, and if I need more advice, I'm going to take that advice from them and act with it.
Talk to me about insurance. We were talking previously about insurance and the possibility that you were going to go out of business because of that.
Yeah, the insurance was very hard to get. In the end, I did. Thank God, locally, a local company was able to look after me. And
mention if you want.
Yeah, FPD, and they're very good. The local staff were very good at the beginning. It was really, it was their dedication to put my case towards the Dublin office, and I must thank them for that. But it's still dear. It's still, and now the season is going to be very small and very limited. So who knows what the profits will bring in at the end of the summer. Like.
Do you want to reveal how much the insurance is?
No, we leave it go for now.
But the broker issue that we were talking about, brokers pulling out of Ireland, you managed to work out a system that you are insured.
Yes, I am insured, and yes, the brokers were pulling out of Ireland. I actually got 2 phone calls from people up the country in the last 2 weeks as well. Same thing, same problem. They can't get insurance. What did they do? How did I get on? Because they had heard my interview and that. So
very best of luck. So it's all systems go. Upping the gears, changing gears.
Can I just remind people that the arena is closed, so that it's closed to the public. That means there's no toilets, so don't turn up looking for a toilet. It won't be there. The Sure Valley Railway is opening, so they'll have toilets and they'll have their coffee and that. Mount Congreve is opening, but not from the Greenway initially, so another few weeks probably. The coach house they were having a meeting last night, so I'm not sure yet. I'll let people know on my Facebook as soon as I do. But you have centre in Kilmac, so it is a 20-kilometre rule. So from WIT you're talking about going out as far as Kilmac and coming back. There's no shuttle runs. If somebody breaks down, broken bike, yes, I will swap a bike, but I'm afraid you still have to cycle back. I can't be bringing people in the van, obviously, unless it's an emergency, but other than that, we have to stick to the rules.
We'll let you close the van there and get ready to go. Donald, thank you very much.
Lovely, thank you.
Good morning, Damien. Don't mention bicycles. My son has been climbing the walls the last few weeks. He wants a particular brand and model of a mountain bike. It's not in the local shops. There's only one available in Cork, but he won't deliver. We can't drive down. Only a 5-kilometre limit, says John in the county. Now, the wonderful Catherine and Roseanne Foley. Dave, Conasty.
Margaret Yermut. What's Damien?
I know, I was going to say.
What's yours for Damien?
There isn't one. Damien.
Will you start again?
Gobshite. Gobshite is the Irish for Damien. Life in the last century, moving swiftly on, he says. As remembered, I know in the Gaeltacht means Ternadesha. Now, we're not going to get anything out of her because she's giggling now. That's it. Tell us, this is an all-new Irish weekly series. Tell me about it, please. Catherine.
Well, it's 10 people from mostly living in Ring, but some in Old Parish. We had one man and he died in March on the 8th of Micheál Joseph de Puer. So it was a very sad and poignant aspect to it. But we did the interviews 2 years ago. We wanted to record them because we knew that a lot of them were elderly, and we thought we got support from Údarás na Gaeltachta to make an archive, go around and interview them. So then we approached the head of WLR, Michael Byrne, and said, the programming man, and would he be interested? And he said, yeah. So we've put them together and repackaged them and to make them relevant, and they're beautiful. But poor Micheál Joseph, a lovely man, and so he's the last programme going out at the end of early August. He's going out on, the last one is being the 9th of August. They go out on Sunday at 8:30.
Yes, I'm looking at the list there, and we'll come to that list in a minute. Roseanne, the idea of capturing history, it's something that I know has been very dear to you. It's something that is very important in terms of storytelling. Jim Fahey, I may have said before, former RTÉ correspondent in the West, he did an award-winning series back in the late 70s, Looking West, and it was about you shake the hands of somebody who may have shook the hands of somebody that was in the famine. This idea that the connections are so tenuous and yet so strong.
Well, the past, we all come from the past in some way, and looking back helps you look forward, I think. You learn from the experiences, and these people, they told us their stories, and each time, like listening to them, when I'm putting them together, listening to their stories, I still laugh at some of them. I was laughing this morning, and I was listening to Pauline McGrath. She was talking about her husband, and it was just, I'm not going to say why I was laughing now because it'll kill it. But they all have stories, and the way they just opened up to us. They're all our neighbours, and they're all our parents, friends, or contemporaries. So it's just that link with the past is very important,
and Pauline,
and we're not that far removed from it, from these people who, one woman was saying, like the first car they got, walking to school. Tomás Kelleher tells about the day of his Holy Communion, his first Holy Communion. They went to the church, a crowd of the kids. They went through a stream. He had to take off his shoes. None of the parents were asked to go or went compared to not at the moment, COVID time, but prior to COVID, the celebration that's there for the Holy Communion, it's just different. And these are people we know. It's not that long ago, so it's fascinating.
Pauline McGrath, who's on Sunday at 8:30, she was married to Joe McPartland, who was a great character actor in Belfast. And from what she was telling us, he was great fun, a great character.
Yeah.
Pauline has returned to live in Ring now with her son, Joe Kay, and she was voted Carer of the Year for looking after Joe, who was a MS. So, but she's great fun and full of. Is she 90? Then Noreen Keneally, another woman in her 90s, married Donal O'Keneally from Ring. She talks about going to Tigankeol in that pub in Ballinagall in the 50s and hearing them singing and the Irish. So we were interested in their own stories, their lives, social conditions, and also has Irish changed? We asked them about their death, their funeral, had they arranged their funeral, did they think about death with prayers? So they did, as Roseanne says, they opened up and talked to us about these things, and we had the cheek to ask them, do you pray often? I was the interviewee and Roseanne was behind we filmed them for the archive, have you any plans for your wedding? And I was dying to know how they'd fallen in love, how they'd met their husband or their wife. I noticed that so you hit doing raw Connor hit doing raw lesh, Connor hog she more on the titming raw lesh, that I seem to have been hung up on that.
Is there something there? Is there a
I don't know, deep down you could have analysed that, what it says about me rather than them.
But poor Michael Joseph, who died, I think he got the funeral he wanted, even though his family have told us since that they didn't ever discuss it with them. They just knew him so well that they gave him the funeral he wanted. I think that comes across in it from what he said. He wanted a very simple funeral, and it was the last funeral, I think, before the lockdown or before COVID came in, and it was great that we were able to say goodbye to him like that. He was a gentleman, In
terms of the interviews, and let's say you talk to somebody, how long would you spend talking with, say, one person? Or are they all done in, is there any editing involved?
Roseanne did all the editing.
Because the question then arises, when you talk to a person and you're obviously listening back to the entire interview.
Yeah.
And the programmes are how long? 1 hour long?
Half hour long.
Okay.
Yeah.
So to try and condense somebody's soul and their spirit into a half an hour, are you trying to get the essence of them? Is there something that you're making a decision on during those editing processes that you're saying, what encapsulates this person?
Well, I put it all down on the timeline, the whole interview.
Yeah.
And I go through it, and if it appeals to me, and if it says something, sometimes I think, I don't know. And then I thought, but that's very interesting. People don't know about that now. I'm trying to think of an example.
The tractors that came in and going to school, and the horse and cart, or going to mass and the horse and cart. Padraig Joseph O'Mahuna, he met his wife in Old Parish, the Legion of Mary. She came out from Dungarvan. Agus Dawson Gra Athering. I loved that. Love grew between them, and we nearly followed the same format with all of them. We asked them about their childhood, going to school, when they left school, their job, when they got married, their family life, and looking back on their life, and how about their do they pray, their religion, and their death, and we throw in the question about the Irish in the Gaeltacht. Now, is it important to you where you live and speak in Irish? So once you have that, you have a kind of a structure that you follow.
Is there an overriding word or sort of description to describe the people you've interviewed? Is there humanity? Is there joy? Is there a love of life? Is there anything that sort of encapsulates them?
Well, for me, the fact that's important, the significant thing, we didn't know whether we'd dilute this with English. Would we put in little translate? And then we thought, people in Waterford City especially, and in the county, they have a great graw for Irish, and we wanted to showcase this is their Gaeltacht in West Waterford, and the fact that it's all in beautiful, rich Irish, and they don't dilute it, and there is an honesty, I think that would be the word maybe, an honesty, a bareness, a visceral kind of knávach or something about Irish that it kind of gets you rather than English. It's closer to our hearts whether we know that or not. I think sometimes it's easier to say something in Irish, say something raw, say something honest, and I think that comes across that lovely. It's a very Irish maybe. It's not convoluted. They say things in a very direct way. And so that's for me, what's lovely, you know.
They're all very positive about the future of the Irish language too, in the Gaeltacht and the Gaeltacht as a Gaeltacht. All these people, anybody we asked or anybody who I listened to about their, or I put in about their reaction was that they were very positive. Yes, there are families growing up, or yes, I see more people, or I hear it more, and it's a different type of Irish, not type of Irish, but a different type of Gaeltacht to what it was when they were growing up, but it is still strong, and it's...
Yeah, Tomás O'Kelleher was very interesting on the Irish. He's the man, he's from Kerry, but living in all his life. He's married to Anne Mulqueen, the singer, and he taught in Coláiste na Ringe, and then he had the pub in Ballinagall, Tighankeel, that he christened it Tighankeel. But he said there are far more families speaking Irish now than there ever were. And he said possibly we've lost some of the richness, but he said that happens in any language. It changes, you know. But there are, when he came in the 50s, there weren't that many families rearing their families through Irish. So that's something.
Damien, you asked if is there one word, inspiring. I remember we'd go and we might be at loggerheads going into these interviews, you know, did you bring this, you know, the way you'd be maybe, but we'd go in and the pair of us would come out almost, you know,
uplifted.
Wasn't that brilliant? Wasn't she so amazing? And they were all so inspiring. You know,
they're inspiring us, Gaeilge.
Inspirádach, you know, agus thuradist misnachtut. They give you courage, you know, like Nóri Ní Cníl, any of them. Nicholas O'Grifon, the historian, he's a local historian, a Starry O'Toole, you know, talking about growing up in Ring. It's a Gaeltacht. It's the Irish, you know, tradition is unbroken, stretching way back, and they are part of this. And
starting this Sunday at 8:30, Le Hurta Rachel Hooked at WLR, and it runs for 10 weeks, so 10 programmes. And people will be able to catch them on the podcast as well. So anybody listening to this, again, if you're thinking, oh God, I'd love to rekindle a bit of Irish, just tune in, just 8:30, and pick up a few words. You won't understand everything, just pick up a few words, get a little check on your Google if you want to, or your Irish.
And they'll hear lovely Gaeltacht na Naoise, which is a special dialect, not like West Kerry or West Cork, like we say Mainter na Naoise, not Muinter na Naoise, you know, and it's bind instead of bean, you know, or on lying snob at the swimming pool instead of an lying ha megama instead of tha megama. So you'll get all this naturally, and you'll hear it.
They're a bit of rolling at the altar.
God, yeah, and great. Padraig Joseph Mahona talking about growing up, going to the Mart in Dungarvan with his father as a young man. When in the 30s, I suppose. You know, you're pre-war. It's brilliant, English or Irish, but this happens to be in Irish. You know, it's great stories.
Extra level itself.
Of course. Well, ladies, Gunari and Táliv.
Garamila Mahaga, Damien.
Dermot O'Tiernan.
Dermot, Garamila Mahaga. Slán lad.